Deep in the lush, unforgiving jungles of Mesoamerica, and high in the thin air of the Andes Mountains, sits a massive architectural paradox. Look at the megalithic walls of Cusco. Look at the staggering fortress of Sacsayhuaman. These ancient builders constructed walls using stones that weigh up to 150 tons, but it isn't the size of the stones that baffles modern engineers. It is the seams. These massive, multi-angled polygonal blocks fit together so perfectly that you cannot slide a single sheet of paper between them. There is no mortar. Mainstream archaeologists will look you in the eye and tell you that primitive laborers achieved this flawless, microscopic precision, using nothing but copper chisels and river rocks to pound the stone into shape. But materials scientists and structural engineers disagree. Because you don't chisel a stone to fit like this, you pour it. To understand how the ancients built these impossible walls, we have to look past the history books and look through a microscope. In the 1980s, a French materials scientist named Dr. Joseph Davidovits proposed a theory that sent shockwaves through the archaeological community. He suggested that the ancients were not carving solid rock at all. They were creating what we now call geopolymers. A geopolymer is a synthetic rock. It is created by taking crushed limestone or volcanic ash, mixing it with a highly alkaline liquid, and pouring it into a mold. Once it cures, it is chemically identical to natural stone. If you pour liquid stone into a canvas or wooden mold directly on top of the block below it, gravity does the work. The liquid settles into every microscopic crack and groove of the foundation. This perfectly explains the tight, paper-thin joints. It explains why many of the stones bulge outward at the bottom, exactly like a liquid settling in a bag. It wasn't carved, it was cast. But to create a geopolymer, you need a chemical catalyst, something to break down and soften the crushed rock. Where would ancient South American cultures find a highly acidic rock-melting chemical? The answer has been hiding in their local legends for centuries. Throughout the Andes, local indigenous tribes speak of a rare red liquid extracted from local plants. According to their oral history, the ancient builders used this plant extract to turn hard rock into a soft, workable clay. In fact, early Spanish explorers like Percy Fawcett recorded stories of a local bird in the Andes that uses a specific leaf to build its nest. The bird rubs the leaf against solid cliff faces. The plant's acidic juices melt the solid stone, allowing the bird to easily scrape out a perfect circular hole for its eggs. Did the ancient builders observe this? Did they harvest this exact plant to melt the megaliths? For decades, academia dismissed these stories as native fairy tales. But recently, independent researchers took core samples from the megalithic walls of Cusco and placed them under electron microscopes. The results were devastating to the mainstream narrative. Natural volcanic stone has a specific crystalline structure, but the stones in these ancient walls showed disrupted structures. More importantly, the microscopes revealed tiny trapped air bubbles inside the rock. Natural andesite and granite do not form with air bubbles. Bubbles only occur when a material is mixed in a liquid state. Furthermore, scientists found microscopic strands of animal hair and organic plant matter trapped deep inside the solid stone. Solid mountain rock does not contain animal hair. The science is clear. The stone was mixed by human hands. If the ancient cultures of the Americas possessed the chemistry to melt stone, they were not alone. Thousands of miles away, across the Atlantic Ocean, the Great Pyramid of Giza is built from 2.3 million limestone blocks. Dr. Davidovits tested samples of the pyramid blocks and found the exact same anomalies: trapped air bubbles, synthetic geopolymers, and chemical signatures that do not exist in natural Egyptian quarries. From the jungles of Peru to the deserts of Egypt, a single global civilization shared the exact same impossible technology. They didn't move 100-ton stones across the desert. They moved buckets of liquid and poured the stones in place. The history books tell us that primitive people with copper chisels slowly chipped away at mountains. But the microscopic evidence tells us that master chemists were pouring liquid stone, using ancient recipes that we are only just beginning to rediscover. What other forgotten sciences are hiding in the ruins? Next week, we travel to a site where the stone wasn't poured, it was vitrified, melted by a heat so intense it rivals a modern nuclear blast. Subscribe to remember our past.